All right, thank you everyone for coming for our last session of the week, I suppose. My name's John O'Luck. I'm a program manager with the Office 365 Information Protection team, and we're here to talk about proactive security with Office 365 Threat Intelligence. This is a bit of a funny question since half the audience is Microsoft. So for the non-Microsoft people, how many are using Threat Intelligence already? You are. How many are using ATP, Advanced Threat Protection? Okay. How many know what either of those things are, besides the people using them? Okay, so what I'll try and do is actually cover the whole spectrum of our threat protection and give some of that context as well. Which takes us to Office 365 and how we think about security. So our goal is to cover all angles of security. It starts with protection. Office 365 Advanced Threat Protection is our solution for phish, malware, and all manner of zero-day attacks. But in the world we live in today and the conference we happen to be in, we have to assume breaches will occur. We have to assume something will get in. And that's where threat intelligence comes into the picture. We offer support for detecting threats and breaches. We offer support for responding to those breaches. And we also recently announced, actually on Monday, support for education campaigns. Make your users part of your protection story. Educate them on the threats that exist. Have them watch out for the bad things. So that's Office 365 and all parts of security. It's also worth taking a step back and noting that Microsoft has one of the world's largest data and signal sets. And that's thanks to our 200+ cloud services across consumer and enterprise. With Windows, we cover over 1 billion devices. That's 1 billion devices we're monitoring on a monthly basis for anomalies, odd behaviors, malware. Shy of 500 billion Azure Active Directory authentications every month. This number is actually old. We're north of 500 billion mails analyzed a month across our consumer and enterprise stack. And Bing is scraping the web. That's 18 billion plus websites we know about, and we are able to track URLs for. And the reason why we bring this up is all of this signal comes together at the core of Microsoft and is used across our protection and response stack. Knowledge and understanding about URLs are how we block bad emails, but also how, and we'll show you in a second, how we can go through and respond to those threats as well. But really, this session is about Office 365 Threat Intelligence, and I want to answer for you why. We all know security is hard. It's hard, and worse, it's expensive. It's time expensive, and it's people expensive, right? And if you don't know about a threat, it's expensive to your business because you've been compromised, your data is exfiltrated. Our goal with Office 365 Threat Intelligence is firstly to help you improve your operational efficiency. Spend less time doing the day-to-day things. And when you spend less time doing the day-to-day things, that reduces your cost. The beauty is now you can take that cost savings and go focus on the hard things, the hard problems, the ones you couldn't get to before. That increases your overall security. But going back to that picture before, Office 365 Threat Intelligence, as part of the Microsoft ecosystem, is also aware of more threats than you could possibly ever imagine. And so by virtue of using our threat intelligence, our understanding of IOCs, the product itself is also helping you to be more secure. And I'll get into sort of a little bit of why that is in 2 seconds. What I want to do, though, is to walk you through actual scenarios. We're going to try a demo. All right, I'm hardwired, so I can't blame Wi-Fi, but I'll find a way to blame someone else if this doesn't go well. How you will respond to phish using Office 365 Threat Intelligence. How you can zero in on the threats that matter using trackers and campaigns. How you can educate your users with Attack Simulator, the feature we just announced GA for on Monday. And finally, we'll give you a sneak peek at some of the better together stories we've been working on. How Office 365 and Windows Defender ATP are coming even closer together and integrating better to protect your users. So let me do this and flip out of PowerPoint. I promise that's the second last slide we're going to look at. And come over to the Security and Compliance Center. This is where all of your Office 365 security administration and management tasks happen. I'm going to jump into Threat Explorer specifically. This is where your... Oh. Uh-oh. Sorry. It's the Wi-Fi. It's absolutely the Wi-Fi's fault. Sorry, just give me 1 second here. You can see this, right? Good. OK. So this is the Security and Compliance Center, not PowerPoint. And the screen we're looking at in particular is the Threat Explorer. This is the homepage, if you will, where your SOC analysts will come every day. What you're seeing right now is more reporting. we're telling you what malware we caught. We also have a view that shows you what phish we've caught. And I want to actually stop here and let you know about a couple of the major improvements and new technologies released in the ATP product recently. Best way to do that is actually to show you. Okay, hang on. Everyone close your eyes. That's what happens when you do a live demo. A couple of folks have come by the booth and asked, what's new with ATP? I've looked at ATP and other products before. What are you guys doing to make it better? Well, what we've actually done in the past month or two is released a whole gambit of features to better protect you from spoof and impersonation. And so if you have any questions about that, we'll be at the booth afterwards. But I want to just show you that, there it is, this view. Because this breaks out for you the different ways that we watch for phish, the different technologies we have. Some of the folks right up front here have been working hard on that. And so again, this is a report on what we did. But I want to talk about threat response. With TI, with threat intelligence, what you can do is go from understanding that something like a URL is bad. The reality is we're going to watch for these things. We will pass a verdict on a mail, but mail can still end up in your user's inbox. In talking with customers, the three most common scenarios, the users have set an allow list. They've said, let email come from this person and put it into my inbox. Or you may have an organizational rule, an exchange transport rule that says, if it comes from this partner, their domain, let that through to my user's inbox. In both of those cases, if a user there is compromised, they could be sending phish in. But you've set configuration that says, even if Microsoft thinks it's bad, send it through. That's a very common scenario we're seeing now, this cross-tenant phishing. And so if you'll use that as the entry point here, you might find out that a particular URL is dangerous, it's bad. And what your SOC analyst wants to do is respond to that. And any IR strategy starts with mitigate and then recover. And so I'll walk you through very quickly how you can use the Threat Explorer to do exactly that. So I'm looking for this URL. What we've done for you, if you're using Office 365 ATP, we're tracking all the URLs that come through. We are tracking which ones we believe are bad and which ones users have interacted with. I know you wouldn't believe this, but this is true. Users go to their junk mail folder and click on emails. I don't know why they do that, but they do. And so the fact is, we've moved it to junk, and they've still gone and clicked. And that's how you end up in the situation where you end up with a URL that gets clicked. In this particular case, clicking on it will show you information that we know about the URL. In the Details tab, we've gone out, pulled reputation info about whatever the particular endpoint is, who owns it, and also we know, in a lot of cases, newer domains, ones that are created minutes before mails are sent, are more likely to be something malicious. Something that's been around since 2005 is much less likely to be bad. And so we give details on that, and most importantly, we tell you who clicked. And I apologize, the resolution is not great here. Actually, I can fix that. But there we go. And what we show you is which users have clicked on that URL. In this case, Ron and John clicked on the URL. This now forms the initial scope and understanding of who may have been compromised. With that information, you can go and reset their password, flip over to the admin center, find Ron intern, and reset his password. Right? That's something that's very common. It quickly heads it off because the stolen password is no longer usable. It's no longer valid. But the reality here is that's a heavy-handed action, right? Going and potentially stopping productivity, stopping Ron from getting to his email until he resets his password, all that. And so our goal is to give you more information, give you more context so you can make that decision. And what I'll do here is, let me just move over real quick, and I'll show. So for John Doe, so John and Ron clicked on that URL. What we bring into scope for you is what John has done. So after he interacted with that phish email, that phish URL, did he log in from a weird IP address, which you can see here? Did he go and, I don't know, perhaps set a forwarding rule so that that mail is now going out to a malicious user's mailbox? These are a couple of the first activities that we've plumbed in so you can decide if this user looks like they've been compromised. But that same data set is also useful for recovery. If you know what they've done, you can go and undo it. The example I have here with set mailbox, I added a forwarding rule to a couple users. That's also how you go and recover from that. You go and you remove those forward rules from the users. And in the coming months, we're adding what documents this user has accessed. Is this a high business impact document? Are they sensitive documents? What users, right, are they interacting with and setting those types of admin policies on? Again, it's useful so you can decide if this user was likely compromised, and if they were, what they had done so you can recover from that. Let me flip over now to that second scenario where we're helping you zero in on the things that matter. I'm going to take you to the threat tracker page. There's two sets of information we aim to help you with here. The first is, going back to that one picture with the big globe, we protect hundreds of millions of mailboxes and users around the world. That's just the reality of what Microsoft has across our consumer and enterprise. That means we see threats targeting those users. They may not have hit you yet, but we know about them because we have this massive surface area we're protecting. And so we present this information to you in the form of trending campaigns. Things that we're seeing are ramping up, particular behaviors, attack patterns, so you can better protect your users with that information. You may not have been hit yet, but the fact that they're starting to come after Office 365 elsewhere means that you can look and see, am I ready for this? Have I got the right protections in place? The example we have here is Petya. Petya was the big noteworthy one last year. Everyone was afraid of it. Everyone's going to ask about it. And that's what noteworthy is. Something you're likely to be asked by your boss about. So we want you to have that information so you can be educated and tell them exactly what that is. The second half here is making it your own in the form of tracked queries and saved queries. When you're in Explorer, you're going to look at a certain set of data, right? You're going to use it a certain way. And you're going to do that a lot when you're a SOC analyst. Every morning I come in, I want to look at a certain set of information and begin my investigations. You can save that query off, right? So that every day you come in, you open the query, you get going. And better yet, we can track patterns of those queries. How is that trending over time? Are you seeing more results of a particular type of mail coming through? And so tracking queries is a way that we can help you and your SOC analysts be more effective at their job on a day-to-day basis. The third scenario I want to now get into is Attack Simulator. So we just talked about how your SOC analyst is going to go look at mail, see who's interacted with a URL. Well, Ron and John in that example, they clicked on that URL. They shouldn't have. They shouldn't have gone to their inbox, their junk mail, and clicked on the URL. So we're going to go educate them. We're going to educate them by targeting them with a simulated attack. There are customers, and I kid you not out there, that I've been on the phone with, where they say, well, we do these simulated attacks. Attack one, if you submit to it and you accidentally click, you get educated. You have to watch a video. The second time, your manager finds out. The third time, it's no longer my problem because you don't work here. Right? This is stuff that companies are now doing to protect their resources. Educate their users, give them a chance, but make sure the right things are happening. So this announcement came out earlier this week. Attack Simulator is included as part of Office 365 Threat Intelligence, and we've rolled out the first 3 attacks. The first one here is spear phishing. So a well-crafted phish campaign targeting a particular set of users in your organization. The next 2 are kind of around password strength, where brute force password attack is, I am going to use the same user, target them, and hit them with a dictionary of passwords, all kinds of variations. And password spray is the opposite. Did you know that a lot of users that have to change their password at least once a quarter will often use the season and the year or some variation for their password? I promise you mine is not spring 2018, but there's somewhere in this room a person that has that password. And so password spray helps us with that. It's a bunch of users with some of these really common passwords. And so again, it's testing empirically the strength of your users' password decisions. And so with the first one, you can actually send a phish email. With the second and third one, you're able to verify the strength of their credentials. All right, and the very last topic I want to talk about here is, this was focused on Office 365. Office 365, how we respond to phish, how we help you find those threats, how you can educate your users. But one of the things that we're going after is we want to make sure you are the best protected customers in the world. And so what we have in flight right now, back in Redmond as we speak, we are integrating Windows Defender ATP with Office 365 Threat Intelligence. What you just saw us do, find out who clicked on an email, that was a URL in a phish email, that now forms a signal that tells Windows Defender ATP to scan that user's devices. So Ron and John clicked on that URL. We know they clicked, and we're plumbing that implicitly over to Windows Defender ATP, and it will go and trigger device scans and then remediate. And so the resolution on this one's a little hard to see, but basically what we're saying is Office 365 realized a user clicked on a phish URL. That is the alert that is passed over to Windows Defender, which then goes and looks at John's machines, John D PC and his important PC. We will scan those devices and look. Sorry. There, come on. I can't blame Wi-Fi for this one, I'm pretty sure. But if you come to the booth after, I'll show you the picture. But we will scan John's machines, and we will scan the files in the machines. The same thing that Windows Defender is doing on a regular basis, we will trigger in real time because he clicked on that URL, because he could be compromised. And if this was cooperating with me, you would see we scanned about 7,000 files, found 6 threats, and we remediated them. Why is it, or why should the SOC analyst have to manually correlate between Office and Windows? This is the Microsoft promise, right? How we bring our technologies together to keep you safe. And with that, actually, that's the end of the session. So thank you for your time. Like I said, we're at a booth, so feel free to swing by. We can do better demos. I can show you this for real and answer any questions you have. Thank you.